Hello everyone, this is Overmind, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay cast. Today I have for you a game from the Diamond League, and this is going to be a TVP, so let's hop on into it. Spawning down on the bottom right side of King Sejong Station, we have our red Protoss player from the CDC. It's going to be Double X Camper, Double X, who's going to throw down his first pylon and chrono boost out his probes as he should. And spawning up at the top left side, just getting his first gas. In blue, we have our Terran player from Luck 13. It's going to be Crux. Now, I want to acknowledge something about this game that is kind of interesting. In the submission of this game, Crux said, it was a little BM, but I wasn't in the mood to get Protossed. And first of all, he says Milady a few times here and tips a fedora, but to be quite honest, if that's his BM, that's actually, I mean, it's pretty tame. If someone called me Milady on the ladder, I'd just be confused about how they knew and then move along. However, I want to focus on his other comment. What does it mean to a Terran player to get Protossed? What does that mean? He's using Protoss as a verb. Well, I submit to you that getting Protossed as a Terran player likely means things like having those scary high-tech units come out that are really good in sort of the mid to late game for Protoss. Because that really is the strength of Protoss versus Terran, are those units that you get later in the game. And so Crux is not in the mood to get Protossed. So what's he going to do? Well, just as Protoss has its strength in this particular matchup, Terran has strengths as well, and many of those strengths start with M and happen in the early to mid game. And so he's going to build some of them for us now. Indeed, here's our first Marauder coming up. Looks like he has some research going on in that tech lab, and it's going to be Concussive Shell, because that's a really great upgrade for Marauders, and I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of Marauders which will just destroy Stalkers early in the game. Now, we've seen that Camper has sent a scout into Crux's base. Crux is now sending a scout into Camper's base. Camper, of course, is doing some pretty reasonable and normal Protoss things. He has some gas geysers up, only has 2 probes in this one for reasons. However, he quickly kills off that scout. He has a nice gateway where he's making his Stalkers, and of course he's getting that Warp Gate research up and running. At this point, he's going to go ahead and send down a probe, likely for an expansion, because expanding early against Terrans so that you can get those scary units out is quite good. He also has a few Stalkers crossing the map. However, at the same time, Crux is sending Widow Mines and Marauders across the map. I'm amazed that neither player saw this. However, it doesn't appear that either of them is reacting to this at the moment. So, for now, Crux is just going to gather up here. We have Camper gathering up over here. And of course this Widow Mine is burrowing. There's a tense moment. And then Camper sees it. He turns around. Oh my gosh. There's units in my base. Now I want to go ahead and note just some positioning issues right now. Crux puts down this Widow Mine here, and that's going to make it quite scary for Camper to, say, move anything down from the high ground. Since he doesn't have any pylons on the low ground, and doesn't have any structures down there, that's where they're all going to come from, and the Widow Mine kills his only detector, which is beautiful and amazing. The Stalkers do rejoin this party, and the Marauders proceed to kill the Stalkers a lot. And we have this very damaged, very sad Nexus over here, which is now a cannon because our mothership digged it back here in time. We have this reburrowing Widow Mine, which could continue to be a problem, and additional units are coming on over here for Crux. This particular Widow Mine is not long for this world, and that Photon Overcharge is still active, which we want to pay attention to, because it's very hard to fight in a Photon Overcharge. That's part of the reason that Protoss has that, because playing versus Terran early game would be almost impossible without. Looks like this Widow Mine is finally going to get taken out. We do have additional Marauders coming in here, and there's the end of our Photon Overcharge. That is it. That is all we have. I want to go ahead and note that Marauders are going to come up this ramp destroying Stalkers as they go along. However, again, units that are in the air are very good versus Marauders, because Marauders do not have the willpower to shoot their guns skyward and kill units in the air for reasons. And here we have a hold from Camper. Here we have a little bit of things stabilizing. There's a pylon going down in this base so that he can warp units in here, so hopefully he won't have too many positioning issues with that ramp. Looks like he's going to go ahead and send that Oracle around. Now I want to note that this is really good by Crux. He's putting down those missile turrets. He has a Widowmine here, but as far away from his workers as possible so that he minimizes the chance of that doing splash damage onto them. So that's not what you want. And over here, also a missile turret. These workers pretty well defended. I think this will actually cover all of this area. We see this Oracle. Nope. Nope. Alright. The Oracle is not useless, by the way. It is still a detector. It is still quite good at scouting. But certainly a lot of the power of I'm going to kill all of your workers with an Oracle is not quite there. We do have Crux going to go ahead and get his upgrades. We can see that he's researching both combat shield and looks like +1 weapons, I believe. Yes, there we go. +1 weapons have finished on up. And we have a small number of Marines and Marauders here at the front. He has also stabilized. He has a lot of sort of defensive posturing here. A couple of bunkers at the front. Widowmine right there. So all is good and well. Over here we have Camper adding on his gateways, and in fact, while he has this Stargate, he's actually transitioned over to Colossus Tech. He built his Robo, he got a dedicated I will make things that can see Widowmines for you, and then he went ahead and got his Robo Bay, or the Colossus Den, so that he could make sure that he has those very scary high power units that Crux doesn't want him to have. He's also getting his upgrades, that extended thermal lance. Looks like this is going to be +1 weapons as well. However, we have our Terran force moving out across the field. Now I want to note the first Colossus is out, and we do have an Immortal here. However, our Terran player is looking a little scary here. Widowmines are quite good. Marauders are quite good, and there's nothing wrong with Marines, and when it comes down to it, if he loses this Colossus, that's a lot of Camper's firepower. A lot of his ability to do damage relies on this Colossus being alive, so here we have a Photon Overcharge. Gotta be so careful with that Colossus. It in fact just moves on back. And we have Crux retreating, having forced a Photon Overcharge, and done a little bit of that damage. He's also going to heal up this Marauder and keep him alive, which is quite important. And he's going to take an expansion. While all of this is going on, looks like he's going to get a drop in. This Colossus might actually be in trouble. Camper definitely needs to respond. Move the Colossus back, move it back! Dead Colossus. That's actually a huge loss, especially at this point in the game, before the 15-minute mark even. Extended Thermal Lance just finished. And additional units are coming around here. For those of you who do not know, King Sejong Station has these nice destructible debris here. It also has lots and lots of cliffs that are good for dropping, so drop play is quite good here. We have a drop in the main, as well as a drop in the natural. Looks like the response is going to be largely to the drop in the natural, and this will likely get cleaned up. In fact, there it goes. However, the drop in the main is doing a decent amount of damage here. We do have many of our mining probes gone on this side, and this is also going to get cleaned up. However, this does disrupt Camper a good deal. We have him going ahead and expanding as well, because he should be able to help make up for that probe loss by having extra Nexus and really using his Chrono Boost. You can actually recover from things like this quite quickly. However, looks like Camper is making a decision at this time to attack, which I think is a mistake. I think he could tech up a bit more and just go ahead and macro, and then actually be set. But I don't think that this is a good idea. Maybe if he just does a bit of damage and backs off, but very worried about this at the moment. We don't have that Widowmine burrow just yet. We do have that Colossus in the back. Colossus has not gone down. There is a time slow going on. Alright, that wasn't terrible. I think now is the time to back up, though, because we have a bunch of units over here. We have some defensive structures at home. I don't think this is the time to engage. Stim is done. We have some Stim Marines and Marauders, and SCV pulls are actually terrible versus, or SCVs are great versus Protoss and terrible for Protoss, excuse me, because Stalkers will almost always just fire at those wonderful little SCVs and kill them off, but then this whole army is left barrel down upon you, and this one Colossus, he has to walk home alone. He's probably gonna get caught. Oh no, Crux is just barely missing him. I don't know if this Colossus is going to make it home alone. We do have a few of these pylons getting killed off. Oh, this Colossus is so close to the rest of this army. We have additional upgrades being researched by our Terran player, who is currently heading across the map to try and kill Camper. And Camper may well be killed. He does have, apparently this Colossus is going to make it home, 2 Colossi at home, and a small handful of Zealots. And while Colossi are really, really good against this Bio Ball, they're also very fragile and vulnerable, and if even one of these gets killed off, essentially Camper loses half of his DPS. So here we have the run-in. Colossus is being target fired. Oh, no, we're going to go ahead and kill off some of the Zealots. We have our Marines and Marauders backing up a bit to kite, which is very good. And now all those Zealots are out of the way. Is he going to be able to kill off these Colossi? This is a very key moment in this game. The first one does go down. We have the second one doing a bit of that moving back, a bit of that kiting, and I think this is going to be it for Camper. Camper, I don't believe, has a mothership core. He is warping in additional Stalkers. However, maybe he'll hold. I don't think so, though. He has so many units coming across the map. Crux, I believe, is going to take this, and indeed, there is our Colossus down. And there's the GG from Camper. As he departs, Crux victoriously fires at his opponent's Nexus for a moment or two more before he also departs the game. So that was quite fun. That is a good example of a Protoss player getting Terraned in return. So thank you so much to Crux for submitting this. For those of you who enjoy watching my replays and want to see me cast one of your replays, go ahead and send it to noobcrafted@gmail.com. That's noobcrafted@gmail.com. Also, for those of you who follow my casts, I want you to note that I have a new little UI going on here, and if you like it, go ahead and tell me. This is a UI suggested to me by a viewer, Methodman, so thank you, Methodman. It's very good at some things and very bad at others, so if you like it, tell me. If you don't like it, also tell me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.